Story 1. I work at a plasma donation center in the United States. For those who don't know, you get paid for donating plasma here. Because of that, our plasma centers tend to attract a lot of interesting characters, including people who believe they are entitled to being paid no matter what. Let me make a few things clear. You are not guaranteed payment, nor are you entitled to it just for walking in the door. Plasma donation can be dangerous. If you are temporarily deferred, for whatever reason, it is for your safety. Unlike a retail store, we do not have to tolerate inappropriate behavior. If you yell, scream, or throw a tantrum, we can and will ban you from the premises. This brings me to a woman, let's call her Karen, who visited our center and clearly did not understand or want to understand any of the above policies. She ignored everything we told her and chose to get upset instead. Karen was being screened by my coworker. For context, screening is the process where we check people's vital signs and take a small blood sample. These measurements must fall within a safe and acceptable range in order for someone to donate. Some vitals can be retaken, but only once. Any more than that would be considered testing and would violate compliance standards under the Clinical Laboratory Improvement Amendments. So if your vitals are still out of range after the second attempt, unfortunately, that's it. You'll have to come back tomorrow. My coworker retook Karen's vitals and then informed her, politely, "I'm sorry, ma'am. This measurement is still out of range. You'll have to try again tomorrow." Karen didn't take that well. "What? That's ridiculous. I'll miss out on the promotion." At the time, we had a special promotion for new donors. My coworker responded calmly, "I know. I'm sorry." Karen pressed further, "Can't you take the measurement again?" Coworker, "Unfortunately, no. We can only take this measurement twice." Karen exclaimed, "What? That's crazy. Why?" Coworker, "Those are the rules, ma'am. I have to follow them." Karen continued, "All because X measurement was too high." Coworker, "No, actually, it was Y measurement." Karen shot back, "Oh, it was Y measurement. But I saw the other day that one of your coworkers let a man donate when he was 2 points below one of his measurements." Coworker, "I'm not aware of that. We have to follow the rules." Karen then demanded, "I want to speak to the person in charge, in private." Before my manager arrived to speak with her, Karen actually got on her phone and began speaking poorly about us to one of her friends. To be fair, some of us were quietly venting to each other as well. She claimed, "The other day they let a white man go through when he was 2 points below." Yes, you read that correctly, she made it about race. Karen happened to be African American. While one of the measurements, hematocrit, is sometimes lower on average among African American donors, this was not the measurement she was deferred for. And even if it had been, we don't defer people based on race. We defer people based on whether their measurements fall within a safe range. If we allowed anyone to donate while out of range and they experienced a medical reaction, we could be held legally responsible. My manager eventually arrived and took Karen into a private room to speak with her. And surprised, she explained exactly the same thing my coworker did. "We are only allowed to take this measurement twice. You'll need to come back tomorrow." When Karen asked again about the man from the previous day who was 2 points low, my manager clarified the situation once more. We do not allow anyone to donate if their measurements are out of range. Just as a side note, our computer system literally prevents us from proceeding if a measurement is out of range. If we input a value that doesn't fall within the approved limits, the system blocks the process. We can't even correct typos without following proper protocols. Karen replied indignantly, "Are you calling me a liar?" My manager remained composed and said, "I think you may have misunderstood or misheard what was going on." The medical historian was probably warning the donor that one of his measurements was close to being too low, just 2 points above the limit. We let people know when their vitals are close to being out of range so that they can take steps to stay healthy and avoid being deferred next time. Do you understand? Karen said she did, but immediately after stepping out of the room, She got back on her phone and told her friend, "I don't understand. This is ridiculous." Then she left in a huff. Sadly, even though all of my coworkers and I begged our manager to ban this woman from returning, she has not been banned. But here's something important for anyone reading this to know. If you recently donated plasma and this story feels a little too familiar, you'd better be on your best behavior the next time you come in. Because not every manager is as patient or forgiving. And like I said earlier, we are not required to tolerate poor conduct. We are here to protect the health and safety of our donors, not to be treated poorly for enforcing rules that are in place for everyone's well-being. Story 2 inches. No crap, there I was. A young-ish specialist assigned to my first unit in South Korea, stationed at Camp Humphreys. Early on, I managed to get licensed on every piece of rolling stock that we had, so naturally I was tasked out to drive. A lot. One fine day, after the completion of an exeval, I was tasked, along with another driver, to return our miles gear to the depot. I think it was Camp Casey, but I may be mistaken. So, myself, my TC, training corps officer, the other driver, his TC, and the OIC, officer in charge of our little detail set off in 2 LMT vehicles that were packed full of miles gear cases. It was pretty chill. We drove a couple hours north, dropped off the gear, had a leisurely lunch at the Katosa snack bar, then drove back. We arrived back at the hump around 15:30, parked the trucks in the motor pool, and the OIC told us to just go hang out in our rooms until 1700 Cobb. Cool beans. I had Halo to occupy my time. The next day, I go to work, and my platoon sergeant asks about the truck. I told him that it was parked, chalked, drip pan in place, air tanks drained, etc., and dispatch was turned in. He then asked if I had washed it. Now, it was January in South Korea. If you have never been to South Korea, it gets freaking cold in the wintertime there. Usually, we didn't see a lot of snow, but we would get ice everywhere. Side note, while on night shift, I did not count the night as complete unless I had slipped and fallen at least twice while walking back to the barracks. So, the conversation went as follows. "Did you wash the truck?" the platoon sergeant asks. "No, sergeant ... It quotes like 19 degrees outside. You need to go wash the truck." "Sergeant, you do realize that it is below freezing outside right now, correct? Water freezes at 32 degrees. Washing the truck would be pointless." I don't recall this being a two-way conversation. Go wash the freaking truck, specialist, and take one of your buddies to help. Me? Roger that, sergeant. Qui malicious compliance. So, my buddy and I walk over to the motor pool. I start the truck and drive it up next to the bay, and walk inside to find my SPC buddy. You know, the one that you cultivate in eco so that your trucks actually get fixed. "Hey, man, I need to borrow your little pressure washer. I have to wash my truck." We had some back and forth about the outside temp, after which I secured the pressure washer, which was akin to one of the small ones you get from Lowe's and use around your house. After hooking it up, I proceed to spray the LMT vehicle, while my buddy grabs a scrub brush and starts scrubbing the canvas. After about a minute, he yells out to me that the water is freezing on the canvas, and brushing it is doing no good. I shouted back that I was aware, and to move back from the truck. I then proceeded to hose down the entire truck, like Ice Cube said, front, back, and side to side. By the time I was done, the truck looked like a giant ice sculpture. The only thing that I had left clear was the driver's windshield and window. We then backed the truck off the giant slab of ice that had formed under it. Have you ever slid sideways in an LMT vehicle? It's pretty fun. And parked it back on the line, locked, chalked, and drip panned. Went back to the shop, tossed the keys on the platoon sergeant's desk, and gave him a hearty "mission complete." The following Monday was motor pool formation day. After we formed up, the command sergeant major had his say, and we were called out to conduct motor stables. I heard from across the crowd. "Goddammit, what the hell happened to my truck?" "Well, you told me to wash it last Friday, so." If I remember correctly, The ice did not completely go away until the spring. Story 3. As the title says, this happened when I was a baby. I actually wasn't aware of this until my brother mentioned it, and boy, did my mom have a story to explain. When I was apparently a few months old, my grandmother on my mom's side, before she passed away from cancer, had taken myself, my 7-year-old brother, and older 9-year-old half-sister to a park while my parents were at work. My grandma had put me in a baby swing, keeping an almost constant eye on me because I was born a preemie, and thus even a few months old, still a little fragile, and needed a bit more attention. From what my mom had to explain, my older siblings had gotten into another fight. One had pushed the other, and it led to a brawl, and Grandma went to stop them. Because last time they had really gotten into it. One got a bloodied nose, and the other had a sprained wrist. I cannot remember who got what, but I know that they do love each other. So for one frickin' minute, I was left unattended as Grandma went to keep my siblings from hurting each other. When apparently this stupid lady, who already had a 2-year-old girl, decided that I was abandoned. Oh God. So what happened was this. Entitled concerned mother saw me left in swing, not noticing Grandma breaking up the fight, and literally walked over, picked me up, and just walked away. The 2-year-old strapped in a sling thing on her back. I don't remember what they're called, by the way, and apparently sleeping, from what I was told. Remember, this is from word of mouth. I was 3 months old when this happened. Of course, a minute later, Grandma turns around, sees me gone, and flips out. She started screaming that her grandbaby had been kidnapped. Thankfully, an officer was there and quickly took stock of the situation. A small search went out, but they didn't have to look far. Even at 3 months, I was apparently very vocal about things I didn't like, and that included being changed into non-soft clothes. I have been very sensitive about certain fabrics, even at a young age. I would scream if I wasn't put in something soft. So, it didn't take long for the officer to find me. Apparently, I had only been taken about 100 yards away to a bench, where the entitled mother tried to change me and throw out my old clothes. Long story short, she tried to claim that I was her baby and that I was merely fussy. Problem, I look nothing like her. Difference in ancestry race, and the fact that I was wearing a special bracelet that has my name on it. So, she got arrested, her daughter returned to her father. Turned out father had a restraining order and the entitled mother had kidnapped her, and my grandma charged the lady, which was how they met the father of the 2-year-old. And the trial was where they learned of the entitled mother's reasonings. To say the least, we won. I was safely returned to my family, and I have no clue what happened to the lady who tried to take me as her baby because I was abandoned. And honestly, I wish I knew more. But my mom wouldn't say more, which kinda scares me. But since I can get paranoid, maybe it's for the best. I'm safe, and that's what matters. Edit. Just want to emphasize, I do not have the full story. Mom omitted some bits, and I know that there was something she's not telling me. So again, I don't have the full story. And Mom put emphasis on the fact I was in a swing. She said baby swing, even though I was 3 months. So, I don't know if it was a special swing or something, but that's what I was told. Update. I'm actually an adult, but my mom, bless her soul, loves and looks out for me. She doesn't want this scare to affect my life, and I trust her judgment. She's always had my back, and if she's not telling me something, it's for a reason. Please know that if I want to know, I will look. But right now, I do not. It's too terrifying to even think about it. To know that I may have never lived with my family and have lived with my kidnapper. Story 4. This happened a few years ago when I had just graduated from university. I was about 21 or 22 years old at the time and was shopping at a popular, low-cost clothing store. I had just finished work and stopped by to pick up a few shirts, socks, and other basics. The staff in this store typically wear dark jeans and bright t-shirts. I believe the supervisors wear more of a smart casual outfit. Meanwhile, I was wearing a full suit, had a backpack on, and was listening to music through earphones. So, in my opinion, it was 100% obvious I wasn't part of the staff. The backpack and earphones alone should have made it clear I was just a customer. As I was browsing and picking up a few things, I noticed someone standing near me from the side. Assuming I was in someone's way, I stepped aside slightly to let them through and continued browsing. A moment later, I felt a sharp tug on my ear. My earphone had been ripped out. I turned around, startled, and the following interaction took place. This is not a word-for-word transcript, but it's pretty close to how it happened. Me: what the? Woman: Karen, why have you been ignoring me? I was completely confused. I didn't recognize her. I had no idea I was ignoring anyone, and now she was standing there holding my earphone. Me: I'm sorry, I don't know you. I wasn't ignoring you. Karen: yes, you were. I've been trying to get your attention for a while now, and you kept walking away and ignoring me. And you shouldn't even have earphones in. I replied, still confused. Right? Okay? I still don't know you. Did we speak earlier today at the hotel? I had attended a small event at a nearby hotel earlier that morning. Karen: no, I want to know where I can find the shoes, hats, or jewelry or whatever it was. I honestly don't remember what she was asking for. I've been trying to get your help, and you kept ignoring me. I know you heard me. You're just being lazy and unhelpful. Me: okay, right. I think the items you're looking for might be upstairs, probably on the left. At this point, I was still not entirely sure what was happening. I thought maybe this woman was just a bit confused and extremely rude. Karen: what do you mean probably there? How incompetent can you be? How clueless are you to lie to a customer? Me: what is your problem, lady? I don't know where the items are. I don't work here. Now, I'll be honest, I was shocked by her yelling. I might have used a few choice words out of frustration, but I didn't raise my voice. I simply dropped the politeness from my tone. Karen: you're using bad language now too. Unbelievable. How dare you talk like that and lie to a customer? You have no respect. By this time, her shouting had drawn attention from other shoppers. Since the store was fairly busy, some of the actual staff and a couple of supervisors came over to see what was going on. Karen: I want to speak to the store manager right now. This rude man has lied to me, ignored me, and used terrible language. I am disgusted by the lack of respect your store shows customers. Staff member: all right, our apologies, ma'am. We'll sort this out now. Sir, could you please put those clothes down and leave the store? Karen: no, I want him taken to the manager. He needs to be disciplined and trained on how to treat customers. She was now literally screaming in the face of one poor staff member who clearly had no idea what was going on. Staff member: I can't really do that, but I will radio security and ask them to escort him from the store. Also, ma'am, please lower your voice to avoid disturbing our other customers. Karen: no, I will speak however I like. I'm a customer. Take him to the manager. He needs to be fired. And I will be speaking to the manager about you too. That's when the staff seemed to realize what was actually happening. Staff member: sir, do you know this woman? Me: I have no idea who she is. She ripped my earphone out and started yelling at me. Staff member: and you don't work here? Me: no. I'm just here to buy clothes. Karen: he's lying. Where is your manager? At this point, security had arrived and began making their way toward us. Staff supervisor: hold on, this is clearly a misunderstanding. This man doesn't work here. I don't recognize him, and he says he's not on our team. Karen: I don't believe you. You're just defending your friend. I'm disgusted by this place. I will never shop here again. I'm reporting all of you to your head office. What are your names? You'll all regret this. Blah blah, etc., etc. From there, the situation wrapped up fairly quickly. Karen eventually gave up trying to convince everyone that I worked there and was escorted out of the store by security. I picked up my clothes again, received an apology from the staff, and even got a nice little discount when I checked out. For a brief moment, I was convinced she'd be waiting for me outside to confront me again. But to my surprise, she had slinked off into the night, likely off to cause trouble for someone else just trying to enjoy their day. Story 5. This happened when I worked in customer service when I was 17 in 2007. I'd recently dropped out of school and moved back to my hometown, where I got a job working in a grocery store. This town is small with a population of about 2,000 people, so I knew a lot of the people there, mostly from my sister attending Pony Club there for 4 years, before we moved to New Zealand when I was 14. My dad, being a tradesman, had done work for the owner, which is how I got the job. I'd been working in customer service since I was 15, so I picked up the work quite quickly, and before long, I developed a good relationship with customers and my fellow team members. This was in the Stone Age before self-service was a thing, and we only had 3 registers. So needless to say, it was a little crazy during the busy times of the day, between 3 and 5 p.m., but I thrived on the adrenaline of getting things done at lightning speed. I loved everything about the job except for one customer. Calling her a Karen is an understatement and an affront to Karens everywhere. She was a middle-aged woman with a permanent scowl like she just sucked on a lemon. Here's what I can remember about her. She was deliberately slow at putting her items onto the conveyor belt, making it take so much longer to put her order through, which in turn made me contemplate throwing said items back at her. She argued about the price of everything and would demand I scan it again or get someone to check it. The potatoes are $2.99 a kilo, not $4. The chips said 3 for $5. Those tissues were marked down. I thought the milk was $3, not $4. Why are the chocolates scanning $5? They're on special. The list of her arguments and demands goes on and on. She'd complain about how I was packing things or tell me how to pack things before I'd even put them in the bag, as if I knew nothing about my job. In her eyes, I was clearly too young and stupid to know that the cold items go together and you don't put the bread underneath heavy items. So I'd get comments in a patronizing way like, "You should put the ice cream with the frozen veggies. Just saying," and, "I know you don't know this, but the long life stuff goes with the long life stuff," and muttered under her breath, "You clearly don't know what you're doing with that." Remember how I said I could get things done at lightning speed? Karen would usually come during our busiest hours when each register was 5-10 people long, and she'd often decide halfway through her transaction that she wanted something else. She'd walk, sloth speed, to get what he wanted, and then walk back, still at a snail's pace, back to the register with what she deemed necessary to purchase. This was infuriating to deal with and tested my patience to no end. I have extremely tough skin from getting bullied for most of my school career. Note the reason for dropping out of school. But Karen almost managed to tip me over the edge on countless occasions with her endless entitled behavior. We offered free home delivery if you called before 1 p.m. I endured the wrath of the Karen on countless occasions when she'd call after 1 p.m., and when told it won't be until tomorrow that she'd receive her bounty, her Karen-ness would be released full force on whatever unsuspecting victims had the misfortune of being the one to answer the work phone. Now that you're familiar with the workings of this prehistoric creature we so fondly refer to as Karen, let's get on to the story and the reason why all you bloodsuckers are here. It was around 5 p.m. when, for reasons that wouldn't be foretold until later, our power went out. I was working the register that day, and guess who happened to be next in line to be served? You got it. Karen, while dumping her items haphazardly onto the non-moving conveyor belt. Why did you turn the power out? That was a bit stupid of you. Me, not yet knowing what was going on or what to do. I'm not sure. Let me call up the manager. I was about to call the general manager when I spotted him at the other end of the store walking towards me. There were only 5 or 6 other customers still in the store, as it was right after our busiest hours of the day. I'm not sure what happened there. Do you have cash on you? We can process your order that way. The general manager told her. No. Why would I? You know I only pay with a card. In that case, we'll have to wait for the power to come back on. or we can deliver your items tomorrow instead." Karen, not understanding or choosing to ignore this compromise, offered to her, "Nah, that's okay. You can just turn the power back on and I'll go." Ma'am, there's a blackout. We don't know how long the power will be out. Now, would you like these items to be delivered tomorrow or not?" It was at this moment that I had a newfound respect for the manager for diffusing the situation for me. His tone was polite yet firm and made Karen shut her yapper and accept the delivery for the next day. Karen left in a huff, and I served the last remaining customers that were carrying cash. I was a lot slower with this method of payment, as I was used to the computer doing it for me, but it didn't take me too long to do, and I was allowed to go home early. As I was walking home, I discovered the cause of the blackout. There was a car jammed precariously against a now wonky power pole, with emergency services and tradesmen assessing the damage. The driver was fine and nobody was injured, and I was grateful for the early mark after a full day's work. Story 6. Hello all. Uncle Bobby is an amazing man, and like Aunt Rose will feature a lot in the stories of my youth. This particular one is something that happened when I was young. I don't remember much of it myself due to the hospital trip, but we've pieced enough together. Cast: Uncle Bobby, entitled Witch, our entitled mother, entitled Jerk, entitled father, myself, the ponies of America herd, 20 of them. So the pasture closest to the road was just under 15 acres of fenced-in area. The ponies or horses had a private pond we kept pretty clean, with a few well-placed tubs of water around the place as well. We used this pasture as a way to train horses not to be afraid of cars, trucks, or buses. It worked pretty well. Horses would graze near the fence line and get steadily used to car noise. This was how Uncle Bobby trained horses, slow and steady. Some motorcycles roared by and the horses would bolt. In the pasture, they had plenty of room to run if they did spook at the sounds from the road. On this day, the pony herd was out and about in the pasture, including my pony, Lucifer. He started out his life as Angel Bear, then earned the name Lucifer when he turned 3. No more sweet, cute lover boy antics. He knew how to turn on the hose. He knew how to aim the hose. He knew how to open stall doors. He knew how to open the grain room. I could go on and on about all the pranks Lucifer would pull, but that would stretch this story to epic proportions. One thing I will mention about Lucifer is he adored mud. Absolutely adored it. He would roll in mud. He would rub mud into the sides of other ponies or horses, and he would do so gleefully. So let's say you had a herd of 20 well-looked-after ponies set out to the pasture. By the end of that first hour, you would have a bunch of muddy-looking fools. That's what happened on the day this story takes place. The herd had been turned out. We had 4 new trail ponies with a group of old pros. It helped teach the less experienced ones about how to handle the traffic on the road, another thing Uncle Bobby insisted on. Lucifer had gone right to the 1.5-foot deep pond and waded out to find the muddiest part that he could. He then dug the mud at the side of the bank, getting himself a nice mud patch to lay down and roll in. His white fur with brown spots. Look up a leopard pony of America, and you'll have someone close to Lucifer. I was coming to the pasture to make sure all the water troughs were full and clean and fill the center feeder with some alfalfa and rolled corn, when I noticed a man and woman out in the pasture. The man was trying to bait a few of the ponies closer to him, clucking at them and holding an apple in his hand. The sun had set at this point, and the couple's focus was completely on the ponies. I noticed a van in the pasture and found they'd broken the lock on the gate near the road, pulled into the pasture, and had a U-Haul trailer behind their van. I froze as I realized we were dealing with horse thieves. I didn't scream. I shook one of the buckets that contained corn, and every pony started to head right towards me. They were happy to see me. The couple was not. The man snarled that these were their horses, and how dare I trick them with food like that, as he started coming towards me. He had a dog leash in his hand, not a lead rope, and a dog collar was already around the smallest point of one of the ponies' necks. I told the man as I backed up, "These were our ponies, and we raised them." The man was very angry as he moved closer, talking in a low, even tone that I had better sit down and shut up or else. Some part of my brain realized he was talking quietly, not screaming at me, so I screamed and tried to duck in with the horses. I managed to let out another scream before the man punched me in the face. Hoping one of my family would be close enough to hear, I hit the ground and saw a mud ball knock into the man's side as my vision went hazy and dark. From this point on, this is from my Uncle Bobby's point of view. Me? I'm knocked out cold in the pasture. Well, Uncle Bobby heard a little girl scream and grabbed the barn rifle, the walkie, and got on Sammy's back. The two of them took off down the path to where they'd heard the scream and knew where I should be. Sammy was a mixed breed horse of Appaloosa, Tennessee Walker, quarter horse, and standardbred. He was Uncle Bobby's horse, and this boy needed no saddle, bridle, or any tack when it came down to business. Uncle Bobby rode hard down to the pasture to find a man with a hand around my ankle, Lucifer digging his teeth into a woman's arm, and the entire herd circling around in a panic. At some point along the ride, he'd used the walkie to contact anyone else nearby with, "Brat screamed, get down to the pasture now." Uncle Bobby and Sammy did not open the gate. They flew right over the fence and rode hard towards the pair. Uncle Bobby slid off Sammy's side and aimed the gun right at the man, ordering him to drop me. He thought he was watching someone try to kidnap his niece. Well, the man dropped me, seeing the gun pointed at him as Bobby moved towards me and made the man back up. The woman screamed and slapped Lucifer hard enough that he let go and went snorting off to join the rest of the herd. The man and woman took off running for the van and trailer as Uncle Bobby checked on me. The thought of them getting away with trying to kidnap me did not sit too well with Uncle Bobby. He saw the trailer and thought there might be other young kids thrown in the back there, and so he did what a reasonable adult, armed with a rifle, would do. He unloaded every bit of ammo into the van, and when a few of my brothers and cousins showed up, they proceeded to do the same. The couple hid on the other side of the van, screaming at them to stop, and one brother went off to call an ambulance and the police. The couple was held at gunpoint while Uncle Bobby checked the trailer. He found it was empty and tore through the van looking for other kids. He was so relieved when he found no other kids in the van or trailer, but refused to let the couple go. The fire department arrived first. The medic they had attended to me, though I was mostly unresponsive. I did come to for a few seconds, though I don't recall this. The police arrived and put the trespassing, crying pair in handcuffs before getting statements. The couple tried to explain they were trying to catch wild ponies and take care of them, and one of the ponies had knocked into me and knocked me out. That didn't track with what Uncle Bobby had seen of me being dragged by my ankle, instead of carried like someone usually would over an injured child. It didn't go well for the couple at all. They swore up and down they hadn't been planning a kidnapping, but at that time, a few cities over, a few kids had gone missing. So of course, the police jumped into an investigation, as they should. This couple's home was searched, as was everything they owned. I came to at the hospital and managed to give my statement, and everyone came to the conclusion that the man had been trying to get rid of the body, which still gives me chills. After a lot of investigating, it came out that the couple's child had been to a birthday party where they had ridden one of our ponies. They wanted the pony, but couldn't afford it, so they had planned to bring the pony to their home, keep it in the backyard as a pet, and let their child ride it whenever they wanted. When they had come to see all the ponies out in the pasture unsupervised, they decided to take a male and a female so they could breed their own since they had the space. The man went to jail for just under 5 years and had to pay some hefty fines. The wife lost custody of the children they had and went to prison for about a year. At the trail, they tried to explain they thought the horses were wild, despite the barn they had previously constructed in their backyard, and that they hadn't meant to hurt me at all. They tried to use photographs from the road into the pasture as evidence of abuse, and all our horses were checked over for signs of neglect. None was found. Even in the photos, the mud wasn't fully dried. I made a full recovery from my concussion, and the hoof print-shaped bruises faded away too. The couple tried to go after Uncle Bobby for excessive use of a weapon or some nonsense like that, but no one bought it. All in all, I might be the baby brat in the family, but I know if I ever need help, my family isn't far. It's a comforting feeling to know. It's also nice to have a pony in your corner. If it wasn't for Lucifer that night, I wouldn't be here to write down all these stories.